Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some news updates from around the land of smiles for you today, this Tuesday, August 20th. And we're going to start with a risque story today, as the Asia Entertainment Expo 2024 is set to feature top Japanese AV stars. That's right, the Asia Entertainment Expo 2024, set for November 22nd to the 24th at Impact Forum Hall 4 in Thailand, has sparked online excitement among adult film enthusiasts. Top Japanese adult video actresses, including Saika Kawakita, Remu Suzumori, and Mayuki Ito, who are those people? I have no idea, are among the confirmed stars. The event is restricted to those aged 20 and above, with tickets available during pre-sale from September 1st to the 9th, ranging from 1,000 to 9,600 baht. The announcement has generated significant buzz, promising a memorable experience for fans of the genre. Any of those in the comments section? Let me know. Yeah, this is an interesting story because, well, adult videos aren't really legal here in Thailand. If you try to access any of those websites, I'm not going to name any of them, you'll be blocked. You won't be able to access them. But here we are. We're promoting a big event featuring many different Japanese AV stars. Bit of a contradiction in terms of how the culture works here in Thailand. So that was pretty interesting stuff. I don't know who any of those girls are. Do you? Anyways, if you're a fan, look out. Coming in November, and the tickets will go on sale at the beginning of September. So, something to look out for. Let's see if if I can get a press pass for that. Anyways, what do you guys think? Let me know in those comments. Now, we are going to move on to our next story, where we have some police-on-police violence. Now, a sergeant was fatally shot by police board member in Hua Hin. So in a tragic incident in Hua Hin's tiny club, Sergeant Major Rajanapon was fatally shot during a drunken brawl by Jakrit, a police commissioner and advisory board member. The altercation, which occurred in the early hours of August 18th, left 2 others injured and sparked chaos among the 50 patrons present. Jakrit, who surrendered with the firearm, faces charges of intentional murder and illegal firearm possession. The incident has led to a community outcry and scrutiny over the pub's illegal operations and security lapses. Tough stuff over here. So this is why, we see these kinds of shootings that happen in the clubs in America all the time. Usually there's supposed to be security in order to make sure nobody's bringing in weapons. I don't think I've only seen security in clubs a few times where I'm patted down. Actually, what am I talking about? I've seen it many times here in Thailand. But in this case, it was people with connections to the police, not just anybody on the commissioner board or something like that, and a sergeant. So some ranking officials getting into a spat, and now the damage cannot be undone. So firearm and alcohol do not mix. I get it. You still want your protection or whatever, but at the end of the day, whenever there's a gun around, it's almost like it's almost like Chekhov's gun. That thing can come out and get fired, and people get hurt, especially bystanders. Bystanders in this case were also injured. So hopefully the book is thrown at this guy. Certainly will be facing a long and difficult legal battle ahead of him, and being charged with intentional murder. I imagine he'll be seeing the inside of a jail cell very soon and for a very long time. All right. Anyways, moving on. Get your minds out of the gutters, everybody, because I have another weird, shocking tale for you. Now, a passenger was found dead on a Bangkok-Hat Yai bus route. A passenger traveling from Bangkok to Hat Yai was found dead during the journey, prompting immediate action from authorities. The body of a 57-year-old King Or was discovered at a checkpoint in Nakhon Si Thammarat when a fellow passenger noticed she was unresponsive. Authorities found no signs of foul play, and preliminary reports suggest she died of sudden cardiac arrest. Her family expressed no suspicion about the cause of death. The incident highlights the need for health awareness during these long trips. So King Or, her name was, and really that's a tough thing, man, especially if you're just a passenger sitting there. There's a checkpoint. People need to get up, go off to the bathroom. You don't know if this person's just sitting there falling asleep or not. And what's terrible about that, too, is maybe something could have been done if people had realized it a bit sooner. She just slipped away quietly. But 57 is too young, so everybody, make sure to take care of your health. And a lot of expats here, too, in our community, in the expat community, people sort of live like there's no tomorrow. I see plenty of people partying hard or drinking a lot and or eating unhealthy. These kinds of things are exactly what leads to this kind of incident. It sounds like it was a peaceful passing, so at least there's that consolation. But still, the heart goes out to the family, because I don't think anybody's expecting to lose a family member at that kind of age. 57 is still too young for the level and quality of healthcare that is available here and in modern times. All right, but now moving on to our next story, which is a bit of a scary one and an ongoing, unfolding situation. Now, a hostage situation in Bangkok as a father holds his own daughter captive. There's a tense hostage situation unfolding in Bangkok's Lat Krabang Soi 16 as a father armed with a gun held his 10-year-old daughter captive in their home. The incident began when the child's mother alerted the police, leading to a swift response and the establishment of a secure perimeter around the area. The father, reportedly under severe stress, had threatened to harm the child. Negotiators are working to resolve the standoff peacefully, with the safety of the child as the top priority. Residents have been advised to stay indoors as the situation remains ongoing. This was as of yesterday. This situation was still ongoing. I'm not sure if we have an update.
Sorry, he surrendered.
He surrendered. Okay, so the update is he has finally surrendered. The daughter is safe?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, cool. So I can confirm that. But that's a crazy one, and it shows just how desperate some people end up. Now, unclear exactly what the motives were. Wife says that he was very stressed out, and that can lead to mental breaks and psychosis. So this is something we talk about here in Thailand and definitely in Asia generally. The healthcare systems here, pretty good. Mental health is something that is always seeming to be lagging in Asian cultures, and this is what we get. Fortunately, this is something I do really like about Thai police, especially when compared to my own America. When it comes to a police response, it always feels much more measured, and the safety of whatever is going on in these standoff situations is taken as a priority, and eventually, time can help to lead to de-escalation. So, treating the situation as urgent, trying to break in there and maybe gun down the father before he's able to, harm the daughter, that could have led to tragedy and everybody just hitting the floor with bullets in them. In this case, de-escalated and happy ending so far. Hopefully the father can get the help that he needs. I'm assuming he did not actually want to harm his daughter, and then this was probably just some sort of crazy cry for help. But it really highlights the importance, guys. Taking care of the mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health, especially because it can lead to these episodes where extreme violence can break out. Fortunately, relatively happy ending on this one. All right, Shano says, domestic situations are always full on. Yeah, this was pretty scary. I don't know. Fortunately, happy ending. Something I always see. I've seen plenty of videos of Thai police successfully de-escalating situations. I don't know if I would argue that maybe there are no better police on the planet at doing that, because very often I'm able to report these happy endings brought to us by the authorities here. All right, a couple more stories from around Thailand. Next one, we have some dogs on the loose. Now, a Swiss man was bitten by dogs while jogging on a Thai beach. A 76-year-old Swiss man, Rolf Weber, was bitten by a dog while jogging in the Ban Suan Luang beach in Prachuap Khiri Khan, Thailand. The incident is part of a larger issue, with over 10 other people, both locals and foreigners, also bitten by the same group of dogs owned by a foreigner named Matthias. Despite the owner offering to cover medical costs, Weber refused and called for authorities to address the safety issue. Local residents and business owners are increasingly concerned about the impact on tourism and safety due to roaming dogs. That's those are big dogs too. Like, that's a big gang of them. None of them on a leash, and not very well trained if they're all running up. And this is a thing too with dogs. When you get them in packs, that mob mentality takes over and it can turn into a frenzy. Fortunately, no serious injuries, but just the other day, there was a story coming out of America of a woman who was mauled to death by a pack of Great Danes that just managed to escape due to the owner's negligence. So the question becomes, at what point does this Does this become the responsibility of the owner? And I mean, I would argue from the beginning it probably is. But in this case, yeah, soy dogs, usually very sweet, not a big problem. But this guy was keeping too many of them together, and it eventually led to this pretty scary incident. Fortunately, there were enough people within the crowd that the attention of all of these dogs was spread out to many people. Because you can imagine all of those dogs tearing into one person could lead to real severe tragedy, especially this man in his 70s. That is not exactly, a spring chicken. So fortunately, he was able to get away with minor injuries, but trying to call attention to the issue, especially because it can be scary for tourists in those areas. I've got a happy story to end the Thailand segment of our news today. Now, a Thai man was rescued after being trapped in a cave for 4 days. A 47-year-old Thai man, Ekachai, was rescued after being trapped for 4 days in the Namwang Si Tamasokarat cave in Nakhon Si Thammarat. Authorities were alerted when a resident noticed Ekachai's motorcycle parked outside the cave for several days. A rescue team found him shivering and pale inside the cave, having been lost since August 14th after his flashlight battery died. Ekachai was safely brought out and taken to the hospital for treatment, expressing deep gratitude to his rescuers. Yeah. Hey, that's some happy news right there, isn't he? more happy endings. Woo. Yeah, reminiscent, of course, of the 12 students who were trapped in a cave not too long ago. But here, one man trapped for 4 days. Luckily, someone noticed him. Right, like the other cave story. Obviously, there were families involved. Like hey, where are the kids? So they were able to establish quickly this person is missing. This guy was on his own. So he's very lucky that somebody noticed that the bike was there and that he was not. So rescues could get in there and find him. Scary stuff, man. That's some seriously traumatic stuff. Luckily, he was able to survive. And yeah, he's fine. In recovery at the hospital. Very grateful to his rescuers, as are we all. Now, that'll do it for our Thailand news today, but I have a few stories from around the ASEAN region for you guys as well. First things first, we're heading over to Singapore. Now, Singapore is introducing unemployment support scheme for workers. That's right. Singapore is launching its first unemployment support scheme, the Skills Future Job Seeker Support Scheme, as it's called, to aid workers who are laid off or involuntarily unemployed. Announced by Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, the scheme will offer up to 6,000 Singapore dollars, or about 4,500 US dollars, over 6 months to eligible lower and middle income workers, contingent on their participation in training, career coaching, and job matching services. This marks a significant policy shift for Singapore, which has traditionally avoided unemployment insurance. The scheme aims to balance financial support with encouraging job-seeking efforts, reflecting Singapore's long-standing resistance to welfare state models. All right, so Singapore's a unique case, right? Like, it is a city-state. It has a relatively small population, all gathered into one area, and it relies so much on the financial sector, which means tons of international money coming in makes it easy for Singaporeans to be able to find very high-paying jobs. So typically, a welfare system has not been seen as necessary. However, at the same time, that's a lot of money. The government sits on tons of cash, and people do end up in situations where they are out of work. Now, I like the combination. Give them money, at the same time, give them training, and pair them with job-seeking opportunities. I think that's a win-win for everybody, right? I think everybody wants to have work, wants to have a purpose and to contribute in some kind of way. And it sounds like they're creating a model that will help to set people up for success, rather than, putting them on the dole and then they just stay there forever, or ignoring them completely and they end up homeless. So this seems like a good balance, and we'll see the success of it, how it plays out over time. Not sure that's enough money, though. 6,000 Singaporean, Singapore's expensive. And that's like 6,000 over 6 months. So I'm not sure exactly how supportive that will be, but hopefully paired with the career training, those people won't spend too long unemployed. All right, now moving on to our next story, we're over to the Philippines, I guess you tell me whose side of the story you're on. But the Philippine and Chinese ships have collided again in South China Sea disputes. So a collision between Chinese and Philippine Coast Guard ships occurred near Sabina Shoal in the disputed South China Sea, with both sides blaming the other. The incident damaged 2 Philippine vessels, which were reportedly rammed by Chinese ships. China claims indisputable sovereignty over the area, while Philippines accuses China of aggressive maneuvers. This clash adds to the rising tensions in the region, despite a recent agreement aimed at preventing such confrontations. The U.S. condemned China's actions, reaffirming its support for the Philippines under international law. This is certainly... every time I try to do a story about the Philippines, it seems like it's exactly this story. There's something going on with their territorial claims with China. And of course, Philippines, they call it, a lot of people call it the 51st state because there is such a strong American presence there, particularly with the military. English-speaking country, a lot of cultural ties. So that backing is very important for the Philippines in order to stand up to China in what it views as its territorial claims in the region. But this is the scary stuff. When boats are ramming into each other, this is what could lead to escalation. I'm sure that Philippines has directives not to open fire. They don't want to escalate this any further than it already is. But what's the end game here between the Chinese and the Philippines? I have no idea what this is going to end like. It always does seem like China uses these stories as distraction politics for its own domestic reasons, right? If the Chinese people are up in arms about territorial claims in the South China Sea, reunification with Taiwan, that population is less likely to be angry about the problems that are going on domestically in China, which of course the Chinese have a very strict control over the flow of information within their own borders. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What's the end game here? How does this play out over time? Let me know. Moving on. Our final story today also will involve China, but this time China and Vietnam. They are forging closer ties with a new 14-point agreement. So China and Vietnam signed 14 agreements covering areas from cross-border railways to crocodile exports during a meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Vietnam's new leader To Lam in Beijing. This visit, Lam's first since becoming party chief, highlights effort to strengthen bilateral ties despite occasional disputes over the South China Sea. Where have we heard that before? The agreements include enhancing rail and highway connectivity, boosting trade, and expanding cooperation in areas like defense, technology, and agriculture. The meeting underscores the importance both nations place on their strategic partnership and economic collaboration. So, they're again, territorial disputes. Classic, tale as old as time with any of China's neighbors. However, Vietnam's direct relationship with China is very strong compared to many of its neighbors, too. So, this is interesting. Railway trade, more connectivity, more highways, better border crossings, I imagine, will be coming as well. This will help for Vietnam's development. Vietnam, another country that deals with heavy amounts of corruption. I have friends that try to run businesses over there, and boy, do I know some horror stories. But at the end of the day, the name of the game is economic development. The more a country is able to take care of its people, bring money in, create jobs, the better the system will be in the end. At least that's my optimistic viewpoints, and I'm a glass half full guy. But anyways, guys, that'll do it for the news stories for today. I'll jump into the comments in just a second, but please go over to thetiger.com where you can stay up to date on all things Thailand throughout the day. We update news stories constantly throughout the day to keep you posted. Also, head over to ASEANnow.com to sign up. Join the conversation over there. We have a wonderful community, the largest community in Thailand for an expat forum, where you can share your thoughts or actually hear what's going on in a more gossipy environment because, rumors are very often indicative of the truth. That's what they say. Now, that'll do it for today. We'll be back with everybody tomorrow. Let me jump into the comments really quickly just to see what you guys are saying.